I heard you on a podcast talk about the difference between breast milk and formula. And this is going to be triggering, and I'm going to say my opinion, and I don't give a shit because I firmly believe it, and I feel like all the evidence supports me. Breast milk is best. I know that's so annoying, but there's nothing better than the boob, and there are so many reasons. I guess before anyone attacks me, literally, when there's two really cool things about when a baby's breastfeeding. One, if the mom literally just kisses the forehead before she puts the baby on for a latch, that microbiome that's on the skin will actually change what comes out in the milk. Like the nutrients of the milk will change. Also, that latch, so the saliva from the baby will also change the nutrients that are getting pulled from the milk. So if they're low in B or whatever it is, it'll actually take more of that out of the mom. So that's not happening with formula. Every time your baby latches, it is a custom cocktail of exactly what they need in that exact moment. So you're not going to argue with me that formula is as good as breast milk. It's just not the truth. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. I know there's a small percentage of women that cannot breastfeed, and this is not directed towards them. But for the moms that don't try, I get so pissed because I'm like, you're starting that relationship off with your child from a very selfish place. Like you're already starting off with like you're breaking the bond. There's every time you're creating new neural pathways, every time that they latch, there's just so much information on like why developmentally and nutritionally it is so important for babies. But what I didn't know was that you were saying a baby that is breastfed is like a fat burning machine, and then a baby that does formula is a sugar burning machine. And then that was fascinating. So I was curious, what triggers that different protocol within the baby's metabolism, and then are there any longitudinal studies on that?
Yeah. So, to your point, breastfeeding is the optimal way to do it. And then that'll trigger people because I'm a guy saying that and I'm not a woman, right? But it is the truth. And like Candice said, we're not talking about the women out there who cannot actually produce the breast milk. I mean, we're not talking about you. We're talking about the moms out there who are not making the effort, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the truth. When babies are born into this world and they're naturally breastfed, they have so many benefits that you just explained and so many more that we'll never even realize. I mean, the oxytocin, the serotonin, all those neurochemicals that are good for the baby and the mom, also what's happening at the microbiome level to your point. But babies are actually in and out of ketosis. And there are 3 PubMed studies, and I could give them to you for the show notes to put in there. There are 3 PubMed studies that show that babies go in and out of ketosis because breast milk naturally has fat, protein, saturated fat, and cholesterol. And then the argument is this, but Ben, there's sugar and there's lactose and there's sugar in breast milk. And the answer is yes. And that baby is so efficient at using the sugar, it naturally goes in and out of ketosis. The question is why? Why are babies born into ketosis? Because the brain is mostly fat. It loves fat. And the baby's ability to go in and out of ketosis during its infancy helps with the neurological development of that baby's brain. So if you take the baby off of your breast milk, if you wean it off 3 months in and you put them on an infant formula, a lot of these infant formulas have seed oils and sugar and processed junk. And you take this naturally beautiful fat burning baby and you turn them into a sugar burner right off the bat. And then it loses all those other amazing benefits that you just spoke about, Candice. So not the longer, but I know that my mom weaned me off at the 2-year mark. And I think that's a good number right there. I don't know if you've seen otherwise, but 2 years is a good number to kind of wean them off. Did you look into that at all? What would be a good time frame?
So every country has their own recommendations. Most of the world, it's 2. The United States was 12 months until like this year. This year they revised it and then they switched it to 2 as well.
Oh, interesting.
And there's this really cool program, and I'm not affiliated at all or paid for this, but I do want to put it in the show notes for anyone that's looking. It's called Milkify, and it's this company out of Austin. And what they do is, because your milk's only good in a freezer for about a year, if you do like a deep freezer, it might be able to go a little bit longer, but it's about a year that you can freeze it for. But what they do is you send in your frozen milk and they freeze dry it, so it's supposed to lock in the exact nutrients, so it's shelf stable for 3 years. So if you're like,
Oh, cool.
I can't pump or I can't breastfeed for 2 years because that is a massive commitment. I want to do one. Well, you can, pump a ton right now as a reserve and then get it freeze dried. And then you have all of that milk for the entire 2-year recommendation, which is so incredible. I'm like, I love science when you see stuff like that. I'm like, that is
That's so
so
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love to hear that. I didn't know about that. Milkify, it's called.
Milkify, yeah.
That's good
So
to
for
know.
any
That's
new
great.
moms or new dads, it is an incredible resource for you. That's an alternative to formula.
Super cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.